This is my Echeverria Cante number 4. It might look big, but it's still pretty small compared to Cante number 3. I number them so that way I know how much I've got. Cante number 2. This would have to be the prettiest of all my Cante. And this is my Cante number 1. This was the very first Echeverria Cante that I had. Hello there, my name is Liz, a self-confessed succulent addict. Welcome to my channel, Growing Succulents. It's now over 4 years old. It's very, very white. And I don't even want to touch it because if you touch it, Cante is full of farina. So okay, if I go here, so farina is this powdery stuff that protects them from the sun. All of my Cante I grow open to the element so it can take full sun because they've got those farina protecting them. And also I water them. When I do water them, I do overhead watering. I don't water, say, from the base here. I just splash it all up, like hose them off. And the farina seem to come back, so it doesn't really worry me or worry them. It doesn't, because it's really just the farina is just to protect the plant, but also it's pleasing to the eye when you see it all nice and white. Now this Cante here is very special because this is a Cante that has produced my first Cante baby. Well, I haven't grown them from seed. They can grow from a leaf. I've taken 2 leaves from this Cante before. And this is now my Cante baby. And this Cante, or baby Cante, is now almost 2 years old. I plucked the leaf, or leaves, couple of them, at the end of autumn, so they still have time to dry off and grew a little bump. And as it coming on to winter, it got cold, they stopped growing. And until springtime is when they started to sort of wake up and grow again. And then summertime, they grew the fastest, and one died, and this other one survived. So it's now 2 years later, and there's dry leaves again because I forgot to water them. So they love water. Any succulents I find, or Echeverria specifically, that has thin leaves like these, because they're quite thin leaves, they do need more watering. But then again, the soil I use on all of them, I just use my master succulent soil mix for all of them. So it doesn't matter whether I plant them in terracotta pots or in this case in a plastic pot. I have to put this somewhere here now because this is the, so they will grow. Hang on, I'll just find a spot here. Okay, I'll just put you here. The reason why I put it there, it's now autumn here, and I will forget to put it away, and they are not as frost hardy as the Echeverria Mexican Giant or the Agavoides Victoretta or Frank Reynolds. So this one has taken -11 already. Cante, on the other hand, can only take -4. After that, the edges starts getting burned by the, or frostbite, we call it frostbite, or get bitten by the frost, and they start sort of going mushy. And so the whole plant as well, during winter, it will close off like this to try and protect itself from the cold. So this one now, last year I put it here, and it has survived the frost last year, but we didn't really get that the frost. I think we got -7, but it's sort of protected as well. So you've got these areas here, so it's like I've created a microclimate for them, or for the Cante, and it gets morning sun. So in the morning the sun hits it, it sort of gives it time to thaw off or to thaw out, to melt the frost basically, so slowly. And in the day or during the day it gets midday sun, so it's able to survive here. But I've noticed when I first had it the first couple of years, at the end of winter, it just breaks my heart because the poor thing just gets ugly, and it takes the whole spring and summer and autumn to recover, and then to get hammered again by winter frosts again. So this time I put it here, or last year I put it here, last winter, and it has done marvelously. But then again, I don't know how well it's going to cope once we get colder, freezing temperatures again. But sun-wise, if you grow them in the tropics, you wouldn't have any problems with frost, dealing with frost. And you should have a cante that's quite big. So this type of cante, there's actually quite a few, or should I say a couple of original strain or species of cante. There's a big one, and apparently there's a small one, and I haven't got any of them. This one is actually referred to as blue cloud. I still have to check on the name, but I would assume that most of the cantes that I have is already a tissue culture. Like most plants now, like a lot of plants these days, it's very difficult to find an original strain. So it's most of the succulents I find are basically tissue cultured. So grown in a laboratory. So they're like little lab succulents. Not love succulents. They are loved after we get them, but they're mostly lab grown. This is a huge Echeveria Afterglow. Echeveria Afterglow is a hybrid or a baby from Echeveria Cante and Shaviana. So this one now is quite a large plant. You can see my hands. That is like humongous. Anyway, but these ones now, I can't leave them here. They are growing. This two cante. I've got two cante here. So cante number 4 and number 2 has to be brought into my, not indoors, but it'll still be outdoors, but overhead covered. So overhead covering. So if I'm just gonna turn around in my garden here, I used to have them growing in that spot there, and there's no overhead covering, and they will suffer the frost. So number 3 over there is borderline, because it will still suffer a little bit of frost, but it is going to be protected by my calamansi tree over here, and also all those other plants or pots that's around it. So a lot of the free leaves as well is going to suffer. So I have to think about bringing in a couple of them on the undercover area somewhere behind that lattice wall there. They're very easy to grow. I mean, if you say, how do you look after them? I basically don't. I just give them water once in a blue moon when they need watering. You can tell that they need watering once the leaves dry off. So like this one is very dry. I can see that that really needs some watering. But then again, I am holding off on the watering because I don't really want to give them water right now, because there's a special treatment I give them before winter comes. I always have a ritual for my succulents to make them grow strong for winter. So anyway, so that's why I'm holding off the watering, because I want to be able to still do that. But hang on, but with water wise, if I'm here, or if I can remember, they like water, so you can water them a lot. Once a month would be sufficient for this big pot. But if they're grown in a small pot, so like that one there, it looks like it's a big pot, but up the top there's only a small area for the roots to grow, so that will stay small because of that. Even though there's all that nutrients in the bottom there, the roots will try to grow and reach out for the bottom there, but the top, because it's limited, then it will be only a small plant, so it will never grow into a big plant. And also they are solitary plants, so I haven't had a single baby out of them yet, apart from, of course, the ones I propagated from a leaf. And what fertilizer do I use? With my Cante, I only give them, well, initially they have the sea mungus in the soil when I pot them up. Every springtime, I would give them a handful of sea mungus just to top it up. Just remove the dry leaves just to maintain them. And, okay, so they would come off easily. This plant I have earmarked for propagation next year. So next year comes springtime, I will take some leaves from this number 3 and so number three is my lucky number, so I'm gonna get it from number 3 and propagate some babies from this.